Is your business struggling to stand out from the crowd online? At Webamax, we specialize in turning clicks into customers. From SEO and PPC to social media management and stunning web design, we've got you covered. Boost your online presence and drive real results. Ready to take your business to the next level? Visit Webamax.com. That's Webimax.com for a free digital analysis. Rule the web with Webamax.com.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
And welcome back, everyone, to the Skating Penguin Network. We are talking hockey tonight. It is Robbie, as always, joined by Snail out in Seattle. I don't know about you, Snail, but obviously we have to start our discussion with the weather, as always, our little inside jokes here. Today weather in Pennsylvania, chat. Weather chat. We bring you everything. Game of Thrones talk, weather talk, hockey talk. We are a buffet of topics here at the Skating Penguin Network. But today in Western PA, a beautiful summer day, 78, 80 degrees, breezy, no humidity. Just a beautiful, perfect day to be outside and enjoy the weather. How is it out there in the Emerald City?
Nice. It's 70 here, sunny, light breeze. Partly cloudy probably by this evening, but another great day out here, slowly creeping into that summer weather. It's Friday too. Maybe have a little bonfire tonight. Probably be pretty active this weekend.
Yep.
So good weather. Glad it's not too hot. I'm sure that there will be episodes where we're both melting.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you wear sunscreen?
If I'm outside, yeah, because I will burn very quickly.
I think I bought for the first time in my whole life, in my 32 years, my own sunscreen just a few days ago for the first time.
Oh, really?
Never, maybe when I was a kid, my parents would apply it. I've just never been a sunscreen wearer. It's always one of those steps that I skip. And yeah, I burn. It's not that I don't burn easy though. Like I kind of just brown. But then, this year I decided, you know what, I'm going to get some sunscreen because I'm going to be outside a lot, and it sucks when you get sunburned, man. And I know that it's like one of those things that when you're not prepared for it, it just sucks. Like, I think you said you had a nasty sunburn one time where you got like sun poisoning.
Yeah, I got sun poisoning actually when I was overseas in Malta. And Malta, if you're not familiar with, is a little island nation in the Mediterranean, in between the boot of Italy and Northern Africa. And me and some friends went down for a weekend, and I was on the beach, and it wasn't even a very hot day. Like, again, I should have known better because it was still bright sun, just scorching sun, beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. And I wasn't even outside that long, but I don't know if it was – I really don't know what did me in, but I was so red that we went out that night, and I had to just come back and lay down because my back hurt so bad. And that night I was like nauseous because my back hurt so bad. That's the worst sunburn. I got sunburn on my legs once on we were canoeing. Actually, we were kayaking on a river, and I thought I put enough sunscreen on, but I don't know if I was in the water and it had just washed off at some point. And you could see, like, because the way you sit, like your legs are kind of angled, so literally my shin, like my legs were like half and half, like one side was white, the other side was red on both legs because of how I was sitting. And I couldn't even sit by the fire that night. We were camping. I had to sit back from the fire because it like the heat would just radiating just burn my legs so bad. The next day I actually had to wear like pants so I didn't scratch it against any kind of plants or anything like that. Yeah, God. That was like the second worst. And I went home and put aloe over my legs and just laid in bed for like the rest of the night when we got home just to like let them cool down. You
Dude,
like
that's miserable.
sunburns when you can actually like warm your hands off of them are bad.
Oh,
So,
it's so
yeah,
uncomfortable when
it
you're
is.
creating heat.
Yeah, you're already hot, and then a part of your body is literally radiating like UV heat. It's bad.
Oh, dude, it's the
Yeah,
worst. Yeah, I don't want to be that this year. It always sucks when you get the first. For me, I get sunburned once in the beginning of summer
yeah,
every time, and then I don't really get it
yeah,
again. But yeah, it's like, yeah, like my buddy, he's bald. One of my best friends, he's completely bald, and he always wears a snapback cap. He always gets
yeah,
that little sunburn on the back of his head, perfectly showing where it's like not covered.
yeah. I've seen that. Or if they wear it backwards and they get it right in the middle of their forehead.
The forehead's the worst. That's so funny.
Yeah, so we opened you with some weather talk, some summer sunburn talk, and I guess now we'll move on to the hockey talk. And kicking us off this week, the big story out of the NHL, it had to end one way or another, and the Stanley Cup final goes to the Florida Panthers, a 2-1 win in Game 7. Again, it was a lopsided series to start, was very exciting to the very end. I'm glad Florida won. I felt good for Florida. Passing that trophy around, seeing guys like Bobrovsky kind of cement his legacy finally, Calaposo getting his cup after over 1,000 games in the NHL. Old friend Evan Rodriguez, who played such a crucial role for the Panthers in the playoffs, get his cup after bouncing around the league for a little while. But I mean, it was hard to feel bad for the result because I think Florida, I know they have an edge to them, but still on that team, there's a lot of likable hockey players. So I felt, I mean, the Florida deserved that cup.
I thought so too, especially after getting there last year, and just the wear and the tear on the bodies was just it was like too much for them. And then I think they really, like, Kachuk wasn't just a complete wrecking ball. He was kind of picking and choosing his spots because he broke his sternum last year, if you remember. That's insane to be suiting up with a broken sternum. This year they were banged. I think everyone was banged up, but I mean, I agree with you. I'm glad that Florida won. Brandon Montour, one of my favorite players, non-Penguin players for a long time. Happy to see him lift the cup. Guys like Ekblad, Barkov, they've really put in so much time in Florida. You know, they're two of like three people that were drafted by Florida, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a non-traditional build of a championship roster. But happy to see them lift their cup. And then it's kind of funny too, like, we'll get into this in a little bit, but you're starting to see it's like Ekblad, they're shopping Ekblad already. You know, have fun with the cup for 3 days. You've been one of the longest tenured Panthers, and he's already out there on the trading block trying to clear up cap space to sign their 57 goal scorer and Stanley Cup Game 7 winner Sam Reinhart and Carter Verhaeghe, Captain Clutch. It's just, but I'm happy to see a lot of them do. I feel like my thing with Edmonton was I just feel like so many people wanted McDavid to get his cup, and I agree. I think he'll get one day. I don't think this is curtains for him. He's too good. But I just think that, like, I mean, they had a hell of a season too. They had to come back they were dead in the dirt, by American Thanksgiving.
Yep.
But I just thought that Florida really deserved this one. Like you said, they really have put in, they changed their entire team around. They were that up and down high speed, Huberdeau getting 110 points, trading that in for a more defense first pricks to play against that can still put up, a lot of goals on you. So I just think that it was Florida's time. Glad to see him celebrate it, but the hockey world is moving on. Tonight's the draft, Robbie.
Tonight is the draft. They are in Vegas at the Sphere for the draft, which will be, as we're recording this, in about an hour or two. San Jose is on the clock, fully expected to take Max Celebrini with the top overall pick. And then after that, it's kind of a pull a name out of a hat from what I've been reading on mock drafts or scouting reports. It could go a bunch of different ways from Chicago on down through the rest of the first round. The Penguins will not pick until, unless something happens, they will not pick until Saturday in the second round. I believe they have the 44th and 46th pick in the second round. So they're going to have two quick picks. to go with here once Saturday gets underway, and that's usually a pretty quick day. 44th and 46th is where the Penguins will pick on Saturday. So, so not much for Penguins to watch tonight unless you're looking for trades or some kind of other excitement. So
that's what I'm looking for, Robbie.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time the Penguins had a big trade during the draft? The last big Penguins was the last big Penguins announcement during the draft when Fleury got picked? Did Fleury get picked by Vegas during the draft?
No,
it was something, right?
Draft was a couple nights before.
Oh, it was before that? Okay.
Yeah, they did that a couple nights before. I'd say the last
was it Jordan Staal?
I'd say it had to be the Jordan Staal trade. Yeah, I mean that was the last at the draft, the last major blockbuster. Obviously, I'd count in like the Kessel trade, but that was on July 1st. The Kessel trade is definitely up there for blockbusters, but happening at the draft, especially since that draft happened in Pittsburgh. The Jordan Staal trade, I'd say, is the last major Penguins move on draft night. And then after the draft, you have Sunday off, and then Monday we are into free agency, and it's expected to be a pretty crazy day. Some guys have already been locked down from their teams. Dakota Joshua, a guy that we mentioned for the Penguins, is off the board. A couple of guys have been some names have been thrown around. One name that's been thrown around involving the Penguins was Tristan Jarry. He apparently is on the market. We don't know if a trade will happen, but we went from signing Nedeljkovic as a backup to maybe Nedeljkovic being your 1B with Joel Blomqvist. If the Penguins decide to move on from Tristan Jarry, that's something to keep an eye on between now through the draft, through the weekend, and into the beginning of free agency. Obviously, guys like Riley Smith, Rickard Rakell, all those kind of players to keep an eye on as well. Those are names we all expect. Elliot Friedman said that the Hurricanes are trying to sign Gensel. No guarantee it gets done before the 1st, so that's another one to keep an eye on because we've talked about him possibly returning to Pittsburgh. But a bunch of names out there right now. It sounds like Brandon Montour will be heading to free agency from the Stanley Cup champions. And one guy that we have to talk about who has been confirmed is going to free agency now is Tampa Bay Lightning captain Steven Stamkos. His agent confirmed that he will be a free agent on Monday. Snail, would you like to see him in Pittsburgh?
I mean, honestly, he's the Lightning. It says the Lightning offered him around $3 million AAV, but he wanted an 8-year deal. Steven's looking for $4 to $5 million, depending on the term. Would you take Steven Stamkos, even at his age, in Ovi's office for $5 million a year for 3 years?
I think you can make that work. He's 34. He's younger than anybody. He's younger than any of the other superstars the Penguins have. He would like lower their average age at 34.
He would. Would you take him?
He scored 40 goals this year. I mean,
would you take him over Rakell?
Oh my God, in a heartbeat.
Would you get rid of Rakell?
If you could swap those contracts, I would take that in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think twice about it. 8 years is no, I can't do 8 years. I'm sorry, that's absurd. He'd be 42 by the time that contract's done. That I can't get on board with. But I mean, a lot of but like a name that I would be more than happy with is Jonathan Marchessault.
You've been on the Marshy train for a while.
I've been on the Marshy train since like when he was in Florida. Like,
yeah,
been a big Marchessault fan. I would not say like a guy like Teravainen. I think is there. Jeff Skinner, I think, is an option if he gets bought out.
Okay, let's talk about Skinner for a second because this is what I was afraid of when they said he's buying him out. I was like, how many Penguins fans are going to be like, yeah, sign him league min? And
it would not league min.
You don't think he would take league min?
No, I think you'd have to.
I think he's made like $100 million in his career.
He's made a stupid amount of money, and he's going to get paid out for that entire contract in Buffalo. Like he's kind of like was it Matt Duchene?
Yeah,
got bought out and got signed in. I don't know if he signed for league min, but he got
$2 million in Dallas.
Yeah, so like if you could get like a $2 or $3 million deal, then Heck yeah. For a guy like
Yeah.
Skinner. Duchesne has like the dream job. He went to a better team, is getting paid from his old team, and is basically getting spending money from his new team.
Yeah, it must be nice. Also in that same boat, Ryan Suter bought out a second time. I think he's still getting paid by Minnesota, and ironically enough, Dallas, where Minnesota relocated to, they're now going to be paying off his last remaining year or two of his contract.
Yeah, they will have a buyout on the books for this coming season and 25-26 as well. Manageable. It's under $1 million this year. It's under 1.5 the next year, so that's not the end of the world. For them, that's definitely a suitable deal for them. But
a suitable,
very suitable. It's kind of weird. Somebody mentioned on I think it was Twitter this week. Like, remember how much you like sitting by your phone all those years ago, waiting for the Penguins to sign Suter and Parise at the same exact time. Like, how much different do the Penguins look now if they're the ones that Suter and Parise pick? Like,
oh God, I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
How much different is the Penguins franchise? Does 16-17 ever happen? I honestly don't know. Is Malkin still here? Is Letang still here? A lot of questions would have had to been answered. So it did not come to be. We just mentioned Matt Duchene is a pending unrestricted free agent. Don't know what his plans are. He's only 33. He doesn't need that much money because he's getting money from Nashville. Is it Nashville?
Yeah, it's Nashville.
So
it's so weird hearing like Duchene's 33, Stamkos is 34, and I'm like, God, those guys are old. But then it's like the Penguins' average age is like fucking 42.
Matt Duchene's getting this coming season, he will get 5.5 from Nashville. Next season,
5.5.
5.5. Next season, he will get 6.5, and then every year after, he'll get for the next 3 years after that, he'll get around 1.5. So through 2029, he is getting bank to not play for the Nashville Predators, which is
and then his $2 million from Dallas this year is gonna the wire transfer is gonna hit, and then he gets another couple of them from Dallas throughout the next year.
Yep.
Must be nice, man.
Nashville is paying Kyle Turris $2 million a year for the next 4 years to not play for them.
Oh my God, Kyle Turris! I always wondered if he was going to become a Penguin early on.
Yeah, they're actually paying out $7.5 million and $8.5 million in buyout money over the next 2 seasons. So over about $16 million in total buyout money over the next 2 years.
Dude, did you see that they're not bringing up that Askarov kid anymore? They're looking to package him for to move up into the top 5 picks or something like that in the draft this year.
Yeah, I did see that. Is he still?
They signed Juicy. They signed. Is it Juicy or UC or UC?
Like UC Okinen.
UC. Okay, UC.
They're gonna pay Saros $8 million a year.
That's insane. But I mean, he's like a Vezina candidate every year.
Yeah.
But absolutely. Yeah, that Askarov dude, he's supposed to be a big deal. Like, he's supposed to be a bona fide number 1 Russian stud goalie.
Is he still in Russia?
He's in the AHL.
Oh, he's in the AHL. Okay.
He's ready. I mean, he's ready to come over.
So that would make sense if they would. Penguins, I know you have Blomqvist, but
oh my God, if you could have Askarov on an entry level, and then you have Blomqvist in the AHL, and then you have Ned at 2.5? 2.9?
2.25 maybe.
2.25?
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, dude, I'd run with it.
2.5, yeah. So he's getting 2.5 the next 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely help your goalie problem. It seems like, if you can make that happen. So. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. If they are looking, I'd say if they're clinging themselves to Saros for the next 8 years, it makes complete sense to try to get value for your top end goaltender and your teams in the top 5 here. I don't see San Jose being one of those teams. Chicago, Anaheim, Columbus, and Montreal. Utah's there at 6 as well. I mean, I could see any of those 5 teams not call Chicago through Utah. Maybe not Utah because Connor Ingram's there.
And they got that other dude too.
Yeah.
Utah's got 2 good goalies.
Yeah. One thing they don't have a problem with is the goaltending situation. Ingram and Vejmelka.
Vejmelka, he was good. Wasn't he?
Young and cheap goaltenders. Vejmelka's one that I was kind of hoping the Penguins might try to snag up last year.
Me too.
Wing a trade for. But I could see, again, if Chicago's serious about competing, I mean, what value are you getting? A value like Askarov at number 2 in this draft? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. If you're Chicago, I just feel like you have so many options, so many ways you could go about this rebuild. You've got you can't miss prospect in that just one Calder in Bedard. And you've got a bunch of other good young players coming up in their system. You need that goaltender to grow with the team. Like, I don't think it's a thing where you build as much as you can and then you go out and buy you trade for a goaltender. Why not package? If you could get a guy like Asker, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But for me, I would be interested to see what Chicago does. If you could get a solid future number 1 in Askarov. Goalies are a little bit of a gamble, though. Like it can be a huge gamble. And having a high pick in the draft when you're in the middle of a rebuild, that's, I don't know. If it's not number 1, it's always going to be a bit of a gamble. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this Askarov thing. Yeah, you think the Penguins are sniffing around on that at all?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if
they obviously couldn't move up into the top. They don't have that first round pick that they want, that the Predators want. But
yeah,
do you think that Dubas is picking up the phone, just showing him their menu of players? Like, what, anyone you interested in?
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't at least make a call. I think it'd be you wouldn't be doing your due diligence if you didn't just
good point. That's true. If we're just riffing on news right now, apparently Elliot Friedman said that the Carolina Hurricanes are willing to give Jake Gensel, I quote, exactly what he's asking for.
Who said that?
Elliot Friedman.
He's asking for 8 times 8. 8 years I'd balk on, but 8.
Would you give him 8 by 8?
If you're seriously taking the consideration of, we want to extend this window for Crosby and Malkin and Letang as long as possible, then I think you have to. Because let's say in 4 years, 5 years, Crosby retires. Jake Gensel's only going to be 35 on still a pretty friendly deal. I think you could easily move that contract in 5 years to a contender if Jake's still healthy and scoring. If he wants 8 for 8, I definitely seriously consider that, because again, right now for me, contract length doesn't matter too much, because let's be honest, we all know what the goal is. We know what the window is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to pay a guy to stay in, if you have to pay a guy big money over a long period, I think that's going to be a contract that's movable. I don't see Gensel falling off that much. Even if you have to retain a little bit when you make the trade, I think the Penguins by then will be in that situation where they're looking to dump assets to get future assets, basically. So, yeah, if Gensel would come to Dubas and say, hey, I want 8 for 8, I would definitely consider it, because I think that everybody out there, of what the Penguins have in the system ready to go and what is out there available, he is the best option for keeping this window open for the foreseeable future, at least through Crosby's career.
I just hate that I'm still thinking about Jake Gensel. I thought so many times I've been like, he's gone, cut bait, but then I'm looking at it. I just think back on the fond times. I think of him lifting Lord Stanley. I think of him and Sid combining for just highlight reel goals. I think about just his competitiveness. He is exactly what I like in a hockey player. He doesn't take dumb penalties. He's not a liability whatsoever on the ice. He's chirpy. He's got a little grit to his game. He's not Wayne Simmons by any means, but he goes into the corners and he battles for pucks. He's shisty. He's sneaky. My buddy calls him the Weasel. My buddy Andy calls him the Weasel, because he's just kind of a weasel out there who just gets the job done. And I would hate to see them. I hate that he's gone, and I do like the return now better after we saw what Bunting provided for for the Penguins. But God, part of me sometimes, whenever I see Jake Gensel news, I'm like, come on, Dubas, just get it done.
Yeah, I think if it's there, you have to try to make it happen. I just think that he extends the window better than anybody that is out there.
Would you take a sniff if you could get rid of Graves' contract? Would you sniff around Nikita Zadorov, who's apparently going to free agency, not signing with our old pal Jim Rutherford in Vancouver?
What I would try to do is, I'm not saying this will happen, is I'd try to move Graves, don't see it as possible, and see what the Devils are asking for John Marino.
You'd want Marino back?
I think for that price, I think Marino could be plenty suitable playing in the right role in Pittsburgh.
That's an interesting one. Honestly, I never even have considered that as an option, but what is Marino? Is he a top 4? Or is he
I think he could fit in the top 4, yeah.
Do you think he's a top 4?
Yeah, I think in the right situation he's in the top 4. I think he's responsible enough for the puck to be a top 4 defenseman, especially playing with guys like either Letang or Carlson. I
wish Graves played like Zadorov, and I wouldn't want to move him. I just wish he played like he was 6'7".
I'm interested to see what Zadorov gets on the open market, because it's probably going to be...
he's getting overpaid for what he...
Yeah,
people think he's like a top 2 guy. He's a bottom 3rd left shot. He can actually score. Like, he has an offensive touch to him. I think one year he had like 17 tucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not like super fast, and like he will take a dumb penalty every once in a while in his own zone. He is not afraid to hack and whack. I like that at certain times or whatever. But if someone gives him $6 million, if they give him a 6x6, that's good luck. You're not going to be able to move that. He's only getting older. It's too much for what realistically you're getting in Zadorov, but he's an intriguing guy to me because of, I'm not going to consider him to Chris Pronger. Too many people use his name too lightly these days, but he's a competitor and he's a prick, and he's, pretty good defensively, and he can score a little bit. I'm curious to see what happens with him and where he signs.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Yeah, because I think someone's going to give him like buku dollars to come play hockey for them, and they might regret it after like a season or two.
Totally. My boy John Gibson, Frank Seller Valley reporting just blatantly, nobody in the NHL wants John Gibson.
Oh, that's interesting. I really thought he would have taken. He had a decently solid season behind a bad. Another bad Anaheim team. I really thought, unless they're just like straight up, we're not retaining anything on that salary, you think that he would have some interest somewhere. But again, it depends on what the asking price is and what they're planning on retaining. Because I really just think they could definitely they should have had some takers on that player, on John Gibson.
I'd wonder if like I don't know, for some reason I think Chicago again or something. Like Chicago, they could afford to give him a new, what do you call it, a change of scenery. He'd still be out in the West, but it's a different city. But they're a team that's, they're trying to trend upward. I guess Anaheim's in the same boat. They've just been bad for so long, I don't know. Maybe Chicago's a bad example.
Chicago's not even at the cap floor yet. I mean, they have a ton of cap space that they have to use, and they don't really have that many roster slots that need filled. So like they have room to take on some big contracts if they want. Because Gibson, I don't think he makes you a playoff team with whatever else you have there, but he definitely helps you take a step in improving and help building confidence for the future and giving Bedard some help there on the back end.
Would you take a look at Nazem Kadri, who's apparently being shopped by Calgary?
What would Kadri cost? Kadri would
I think isn't it like $8 million?
Yeah,
like 4 more seasons.
There'd have to be some retaining going on there. That's way too much money. Calgary's going to be so bad next year.
Oh yeah,
they're going to be absolutely dreadful. No, he's $7 million for the next
7.
Yeah, for the next 5 seasons.
Ooh,
man,
can't be done.
Nah. Yeah, what about like Jonathan Huberdeau signed that massive deal?
They're going to have to buy him out. I just don't see them.
Yeah, you're not going to trade a $10.5 million contract that runs through 2031.
There's no way. I don't know if that's the same Huberdeau anymore either. Like, I don't think that guy's in there anymore.
Yeah, they're going to, man, that team's going to be so damn bad next year. Like, they're going to be so awful. I'm just looking at like this roster.
Lindholm's gone.
Like, they have Blake Coleman signed for the next 3 years, almost $5 million.
That's tough. He's not a $5 million a year guy.
No, Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar.
Mackenzie Weegar is their one gem and bright spot on that team. I would take him any day of the week, but I just like, do they keep him around as like a pro for like you always need a good right shot D man.
Man, that's just so much money.
How much is he making?
He's making 6.25 for the next.
I think did he have like 20 tucks this year?
Let's see what Mackenzie Weegar did this year.
He had a great season up there.
He was 20. He had 20 and 32.
20 and 32 assists.
Yeah,
dude, that's for a defenseman. Like that's Mike Green of old on the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Actually, Mike Green had 30 that one year, which is insane.
Yeah, I think he won the Norris that year or something like that, or he
was nominated.
Yeah, but it's going to be a lot of shuffling going on these final few days before free agency, especially tonight at the draft. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on who all gets dealt and what moves are made. So you're definitely going to want to keep an eye. Again, by the time you hear this, it'll be out already, but it's definitely going to be, if it doesn't happen to the draft, there's still time this weekend before Monday for contracts to get thrown around and stuff like that.
Flyers buy out Cam Atkinson.
Yeah, bought out the final year of that deal. I think it's really cheap buyout for them. I don't think it really.
He blocked a trade to San Jose, it looks like, and then they just said, "We need you off the books. We're buying you out."
Yeah,
he's always been kind of a. Penguins see a lot of that guy. Columbus, Philadelphia.
Yep.
Do they sign him? Take the tour, the Metro tour.
Yeah, keep the Metro train rolling. Let's see what Cam Atkinson.
I'd take him at $2 million on a third line right shot.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a great year. He only had 13 and 15 this year.
Wasn't he hurt a lot of the year?
He missed 12 games, so I mean,
12. That's it.
That many games. But again, a guy that scored 40 in the past. Again, that might have been a lightning in the bottle type year for him.
Wait, you say he scored 40?
In 2018-19, he scored 41.
Good for him. Jeez.
Yeah, he had 35 in 2016-17 too. So I mean, he has had some
those Tortorella years.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess he has Tortorella now.
Yeah, so it didn't necessarily work out the second time, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who all gets moved. We'll talk more about that on our Monday episode as well. But moving on from free agency and trades, we have names for the Four Nations tournament coming up next winter. The 4 teams, the United States, Canada, Sweden, and Finland, each named 6 players to their rosters. Starting off here with Team Sweden, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, Eric Carlson, Philip Forsberg, William Nylander, and Mika Zibanejad are the first 6 that will be playing for Team Sweden.
Decent.
Decent, yeah, very decent. Eric Carlson, obviously the Penguins representation there. Good for him. Not really a surprise. Hedman, obviously. These 6 that were selected for each team are very obvious. Like, yeah, that guy was going to, if he was healthy, he was going to make it. Forsling has had quite a year for himself.
Dude, yeah.
He was claimed off waivers in 2001. Since then, he has signed an 8-year contract, won a Stanley Cup, had a baby, and is now going to be representing his country in this Four Nations tournament next year. So quite a run for Gustav Forsling. Willie Nylander, obviously, was going to be in there. Mika Zibanejad, it'd be really funny if he just went like off in this tournament just to peeve off every Rangers fan in existence. If he just had a massive tournament and then just disappeared again. Forsberg obviously has been fantastic. Then Hedman and Carlson wrap up Team Sweden. Team Finland, some obvious ones here again, led by
Kapanen?
No. Led by Sasha Barkov, who again just lifted the Stanley Cup on Monday. The only goalie that was selected out of these 4 teams, they'll be led in net by UC Saros, as we talked about, rumored to be signing a long-term deal with the Nashville Predators. Miro Heiskanen and Esa Lindell of Dallas, 2 defensemen. Sebastian Aho, the one that plays for, and NHL.com made sure to specify the one that plays for the Carolina Hurricanes, if there would ever going to be any confusion in that. And then from the Avalanche, Mikko Rantanen. Again, this is going to be an absolutely star-studded tournament. Just absolutely massive names. It's going to be really fun to watch, even if it's a small field. But Team Sweden looking stacked early. Team Canada, you can probably guess some names on this one pretty easily. Snail, I'll give you 3 guesses on 3 players on this team if you haven't looked already.
For Team Canada?
Yeah.
Heart-winning Nathan McKinnon.
He was one.
Sidney Crosby. If they left him off of this 6, I don't know. I'd do something drastic. Yeah. And then a third, I don't know, Connor McDavid.
That is the other of the big 3 that they named.
Is Cale Makar?
Cale Makar is one.
Let me try to guess the rest.
Okay,
Cale Makar
is the only defenseman.
Only defenseman.
You have 4. You have 2 left. No goalies.
Okay. Well, they don't have any goalies right now.
Yeah, Jordan Binnington is going to have to wait.
Jordan Tristan Jarry
is currently throwing a tantrum
at a bowling alley somewhere.
Yeah, at a bowling alley in like Saskatchewan.
Yeah. My next guess would have to be McKinnon, McDavid, Crosby, Makar. I'm gonna go with a Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh, okay.
It's either Steven Stamkos or Braden Point.
It's Point.
Point?
Yeah, it's Point.
Okay. Steven Stamkos wasn't on the list?
He is not on the list.
Is it Drew Doughty? You said only one defenseman.
Makar is the only defenseman. This guy's a forward.
I'm trying to think who's a super good forward. I don't know. Who is it?
It's Brad Marchand.
Marshy got named?
He got named in the first 6. Yeah.
Nice. All right. I wasn't gonna guess him.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were. I really didn't know if you were. I didn't think you were gonna get that one because even people online were a little bit shocked that he was named among the first 6. But Brad Marchand is the 6th skater there. So that is Team Canada's 6. I'll give you the same shot with the United States team, the final of these 4 teams here. I'll give you to see if you can name the 6. We are looking at 3 forwards and 3 defensemen.
All right, the forwards. Is Jake Gensel named?
No.
Really?
Nope.
All right, Austin Matthews.
Yes.
Matthew Tkachuk.
Yes.
Wait, so 3 forwards?
3 forwards and 3 defensemen. Yep.
Matthew Tkachuk. Okay, who was part of that USA development team? Jack Eichel.
Yes, that's the 3 forwards.
Okay,
Matthews, Tkachuk, and Eichel.
And then if it's defenseman, it's got to be Norris winner Quinn Hughes.
Yes.
Yeah, I forget he's American sometimes because he's been in Vancouver.
Yeah, I kind of have to remember that the Hughes brothers are American. They are not Canadian. They are American.
Is Jacob Slavin American?
He's not on the list. I don't
He's
know if
not?
he is or not.
Okay.
No, he's not on the.
Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox.
Adam Fox is number 2.
Good New York boy. Who else is an American defenseman? Jeez. Is he a veteran or a kid?
Oh, he's a veteran.
He's a veteran?
Hold on, let me see how old he is. And he is.
Is it McDonough?
No, he's 26, but it feels like he's been around forever.
Oh, Werenski.
Nope.
Really?
Nope.
Seth Jones?
Nope. Slavin is American, but he's not. It's not who it is.
It's not him? Okay.
Nope.
He's 26, but it feels like he's 147.
Feels like he's been playing since he's 18. I don't know if that is how long.
It's I don't know who.
Charlie McAvoy.
Oh God, I forget he's American sometimes too.
Yep.
I don't know why.
Yeah, Charlie McAvoy is the other defenseman. Again, these teams are going to be so freaking loaded. It's going to be kind of absurd how stacked.
They're just missing Russia.
Oh gosh, what I mean, Czech Republic just won the World Championships. They should absolutely be in the tournament as well. Make it 6 teams. Figure out another team. Put Slovakia in or something. I don't know. Make 2 USA teams. I don't care. But yeah, it just 4 teams just seems like so little, but it will be a nice appetizer for the Olympics to come the next year in 2026. Obviously, Mike Sullivan will be leading the way with Team USA, and yeah, it's going to be.
Do you think Sid is a lock to make the Olympics?
Sid?
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's healthy, he's there. Yeah, I don't think he would have been one of. If he would have been one of these 6, they wouldn't have had him named for one of these 6. I don't think if he would have been on the Olympics radar.
I think I heard on this interview that Nate McKinnon gave that he was actually out at some unreal golf course, like in Spain or something like that with Sid. They were on a golf trip. And he said that him and Sid were drawing up Olympic power plays while they were on the golf course in between rounds. Or in between holes.
Say that again. You kind of broke up there a little bit.
So I don't know how much of that you didn't hear. Nate was on a golfing trip with Sid.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Nate was saying that him and Sid, while they were golfing, like in between holes, were drawing up Olympic power play options for them while they were just on the course.
That's like the most Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon thing ever. Like, I guarantee, like, these dudes, that's all they think about. Like, they're on a relaxing vacation and they're sitting there drawing up power plays. Those two, like, again, assuming they both go to the Olympics, it's going to be such a fun time because those two are so close. Like, I guarantee you last night they were out in the strip somewhere or in some private lounge in Vegas with the Hart Trophy between them, just like raging,
mulling about.
Yeah. I remember there being videos from McKinnon's cup party where Sid was just quite clearly just absolutely annihilated.
Sid said that he was up drinking later than Nate was during his cup party.
That's wild because, like, again, I guarantee you right now even at his age, Crosby could probably go and just get completely blasted and then put in a solid 20-minute time on ice the next night. Like
Sid, I mean, he's from Nova Scotia, man. Those guys are a different breed up there.
Yeah.
He can put in an absolute shift at a local bar in and then he can the next day he'll be out. He'll probably be the first one out on the ice, just bag skating himself, doing drills. So yeah, dude, that Olympic roster is going to be unreal. Even if Sid is a role player at that point, do you see a world where Sid could be the captain but not be like a first line guy? Like, do you see where he would be the captain, but it's like he's like a third line checking forward?
That or the second line. It's gonna be really hard to be like not have McDavid out there as your 1C. Like it just feels like second nature that he has to be your 1C. But I could easily see. I mean, Scott Niedermayer was a captain in 2010, I believe. So like,
Yeah,
it wouldn't. I mean, no. I think they'll go for experience. I really think your captains could quite easily be Crosby as the C, and then McDavid and McKinnon as your A's, unless they are dead set on having a defenseman wear an A. But I think you could easily see a Crosby, Malkin, or Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid. That's your three captains, and maybe they add a third A as well. I don't know what the restrictions on that are.
The whole team wears A's.
The whole team just wears A's, so they can all talk to the ref. Oh, we can only have certain guys talk to the ref? Well, guess what? Everybody's an assistant captain.
Yeah. Nate also said in that interview that he already talked with Sid and he wants to be on his wing. So, like, up the middle. I mean, obviously, John Cooper is going to have a say in this too. Like, and they're going to see how things go. But McKinnon said that he wanted to be on Sid's wing. Like, that's like a childhood dream of his. And so if you think about how strong they could be up the middle, if they had McDavid, McKinnon, and then Sid.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I don't know. It'd be crazy. I mean, could you imagine how Sid and Nate on the line, and then you don't even need you could have a plumber on left wing.
Yeah, just like hey,
Kunitz out of retirement.
Yeah, Chris Kunitz out of retirement. How about you go and skate alongside Sid and McKinnon here, see what you can do. Like, I mean, your two wingers are going to be like either Brad Marchand or Braden Point. Like,
pretty. I mean, that's yeah. And then first line will be what? McDavid. I heard Hyman maybe.
I want to see what Hyman does in another. I need to see more. I need to see more than 1 year out of Zach Hyman. I'm sorry. No, if McDavid is there, they're probably going to try to get him. If he wants his friend there, I'm sure he'll be there.
You could have a first line of Sid, McDavid, and because Sid said before he'd go to McDavid's wing. I think they've practiced that before in the past.
Oh, I'm sure they have. You
could have McDavid, McKinnon, and Sid on a first line.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like when you're in a situation like the Olympics, you have so much talent. Sometimes guys need to play out of position, and you just find a way to make it work, especially in a short tournament. Where you just need to get a little bit of chemistry going, and you just have so much talent that you're going to find a way to score goals. So
that line would absolutely torch countries.
Yeah, oh yeah,
oh yeah. But yeah, looking forward to that Four Nations type. What's it called? Four Nations.
This is Four Nations. Yeah,
Four Nations will be awesome, and yeah, like you said, perfect for just a nice little sneak peek at what international hockey will look like again. Olympic hockey with NHL players back.
That's going to be, I'm very excited for that because we need that back. All right. That's all I really got. Snell, you got anything? Wrap us up?
I do. All Former right. Penguin Daniel Winnick retired from professional hockey.
I did see that. Yeah. I don't know where he'd been playing the last few years, if anywhere.
I think he was over in Czech, maybe.
That might be right. Yeah. He played briefly with the Penguins.
Very briefly. I think he played briefly with a lot of teams. Did I cut out?
No, you're good. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think he played with...
He was in Washington for a while, too.
He was with the Washington, Toronto, San Jose, Arizona, Colorado, Anaheim, Minnesota. I don't know if I said Minnesota, and then Pittsburgh, too.
My goodness.
798 career games, 82 career goals, and 251 career points. So great career for former Penguin Daniel Winnick. Enjoy retirement.
Enjoy retirement. That is right. But yeah, that's about all I got for this. We'll be back Monday, not with the mailbag, but talking free agency, which will start on Monday. So you're going to want to tune in for that.
I got one more thing, Robbie.
Go ahead.
Did you watch the debate?
No. I played video games.
I watched it.
That seemed bold.
It was bold. I felt nauseous afterwards.
Yeah, I believe you. I've watched clips and I got nauseous too. So,
are you going to watch the draft?
Yeah, I'm gonna at least the first couple picks just to see like how it shakes out, and then I might just flip back and forth then, see what else is on. Unless the Penguins do something to move up, then I'll probably pay a little bit more attention. But
hopefully
we'll probably
there's a
watch
trade, man. A
hopefully there's
blockbuster.
Something.
Mitch Marner for Erik Karlsson, 1-for-1.
Okay.
I don't want that, but I'm just
No.
saying that something seismic.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to have a truly, like, potentially, like reshaping, like an like a landscape reshaping trade.
Like Drew Doughty for Mitch Marner. Drew Doughty's so old now. I feel like I'm still stuck in like 2014 where I'm just like, Drew Doughty is still one of the best defensemen like in the league, but you know, he's old now. I don't know who's anyways, but yeah, I'll be watching. Can't wait to see. It's cool to see like the first few picks. I want to see where that Tej Iginla goes because I've been on the Tej train for a long time, and he was in the top. You know, he was in like maybe the last 5 of the draft in the beginning of the year, and now they're like he's going top 5. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. But I'm done, Robbie. That's all I got.
All right, yeah. So that'll end this episode. We talked some good hockey today. We'll be back on Monday with basically checking in on free agency and see what's going on. By the time we record, we'll already be a few hours in. There'll probably hopefully be some big deals done at that point. We'll hopefully have maybe a Crosby update. We'll see how that all pans out. Obviously, we've heard that the deal is expected to get done, but you just know there's going to be some people that are completely freaking out if he does not have a new deal on July 1st at noon. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. We will talk to you guys next week.